When children are drinking blood on top of a mountain, their parents' blood, because they're so thirsty, and ISIS has surrounded and we've got the Pentagon looking into how do we do a mass evacuation? How do we save these
thousands of people?
30,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's going on. That was yesterday. Going on yesterday. The Pentagon was working to try to figure out how we can save 30,000 people from a mountaintop in Iraq. Because it is so bad, so desperate that literally children are drinking their parents' blood. Their parents are opening up their veins and giving their children their blood to drink because they've got nothing. It's that bad. You've got people being crucified, literally crucified. I said, do we have proof of that? Oh, yes, we do have proof of it. I saw it myself. They are crucifying children. They are beheading children. Just one of the country's best journalists, and we're pleased to have her at the Blaze. She just got back from the border. She's joining us here in Dallas before she goes back to Washington. Sarah, before we go to the border, let me just start with, can you make heads or tails? Because I know you've been over in the Middle East a lot, and you have covered this stuff. I can't figure out. Last night, they were looking to mount the biggest rescue operation the country's ever done to try to save these people who are trapped on top of a mountain. They're literally cutting themselves to have the children drink the blood of the parents so the kids can survive. They were telling us that it was horrible. This morning I get up and they say, yeah, we've decided not to do it because we have some new intel and it looks like they're all fine.
That's not true. That's not true. And in fact, what I think we're seeing happening there, particularly with the Yazidis, and when you talk about United States Special Forces operations in the region, I'm positive that once U.S. Special Forces reached that area, they probably came up with a game plan to move people out and off of that mountain and into safety. And what happens is a lot of times the administration gives up our gameplay. And the Pentagon would be very angry about this. So we don't want to let ISIL, ISIS, however you want to call them, Islamic State, know what our game plan is. And so they may have backtracked and said, okay, we're not going to do this. But I can guarantee you, Glenn, that the emails that I've been receiving from that part of the world, emails from the Christians in Iraq, as well as people who are connected to the Yazidis, there is no doubt in my mind that their lives are threatened, that they are on the verge of genocide.
We have pictures of their children being crucified.
Yes. Children being crucified, people being tortured. They are on the verge of a genocide. And if we don't act, God help us when we're the ones crying out for help, because this is a crisis that is of enormous proportions. I don't think I would have ever thought that we would have reached this point. It was so bad last year. It was so bad. We were talking about Syria, and I remember seeing al-Nusra come to the rise. And then when we saw Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda Iraq change and shift and more people join them. And I can tell you right now from the information that I've been getting from sources, this is not going to end anytime soon.
No, it's not.
We're seeing fighters come from all over the world.
This is the beginning of World War III.
Yes, we are seeing fighters come from all over the world to join ISIS, and that's what's frightening here. That's really what's...
Okay, so let's now go to the border. You've been down there for a few days, and much to the chagrin of DHS, which wasn't very helpful, as I understand.
No, not helpful at all. In fact, they called us, Glenn. They called us 2 weeks ago. I get a call from DHS, from one of the public information officers, saying, "Hey, Sarah, would you still like to go on a ride along with us on the border?" You know, we spent a little bit of a week there last month when the crisis, actually more than a month ago, when the crisis was really escalating. And I said, absolutely, let us know what we need to do. They go, well, you're more than invited. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Do you want to go on ATVs? Do you want to go on horseback? Do you want to come out with us on boats? I said, whatever you guys are willing to provide, we're willing to do, and I'd like to do all of it. But I got to get approval. And they said, great, no problem. We got approval. We're getting ready to go. They pushed me to this week. And then on Sunday, when I couldn't reach anybody in Washington, D.C., I get a really short email saying, hey, Sarah, guess what? You've been denied. No longer are we going to give you a ride along. Not going to take you anywhere. And you need to call Washington, D.C. and find out who up there denied you, because we can't tell you anything. What? You can't imagine how many phone calls I made. I said, this is my job, guys.
Did we find out?
Well, yes, I never found out why, but I made so many phone calls and I raised such a stink about this because this is a denial of our rights.
Right.
First of all, you invited us. We didn't push this on you. And second of all, I have every right to be out there to see what's going on at our border and report this to our readers and to our listeners. And I really held them to the gun on this one. And I said, I am going to publish a story that is going to reflect what you have done to me and to my company and to the people who are expecting to receive the information so that they can make decisions.
And what'd you find out?
And guess what? They immediately approved my request. It was that quick. Nobody would ever tell me who denied me. Nobody would ever tell me why they were going to deny me. And that was it.
Well, you know the story. So
yeah.
Tell me about, first of all, the Border Patrol agent that was killed. He was off duty. We know the story. He was off duty. He was fishing with his family. A guy we had taken into custody 4 times.
Correct. 4 times.
And let him go with a $10 fine. He was here illegally.
That's right.
He shoots the Border Patrol agent. Where is that now? What's happening?
Well, we were actually in Willacy County. I made it a point to go visit Sheriff Larry Spence, who was the sheriff, been a sheriff there for approximately 29, 30 years in Willacy County, said this was the toughest case he had ever been on. We went out to his office, and in fact, we were in his office, and these 2 criminals, who I brought their mugshots for you right here. These 2 criminals were actually in the jail right behind us while we were visiting. They were still being held inside his local jail cells. Basically, this gentleman here, who they believe pulled the trigger, was actually arrested numerous times in the United States, not just for minor crimes, but for rape, and he was accused of many other grievous crimes. And this gentleman right here, who was the getaway driver, was also an illegal who had not been deported multiple times. And let me tell you, Glenn, you know, this is a tough story because we're dealing with, when I'm down at the border, we're dealing with criminals like this and young children.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into a family, the baby was 15 months old. I don't even know how that family made it across that river area. I mean, there were panthers, cougars, sorry. They say there's black cougars in the area, rattlesnakes. I mean, this is just the environment.
Horrible.
It's terrible.
Scorpions.
They're scorpions. They're
Yeah.
dehydrated. They found a young child dead in that area we were at. But here you have these 2 really bad guys. And they took the life of a man fishing with his family, happened to be a Border Patrol agent. And these men should have been deported. They should have been held.
What's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to them now?
Oh, they are going to be charged with first-degree murder of a police officer. They said a peace officer, but it's actually a federal law enforcement officer. So they're going to be charged with first-degree, second-degree murder. I mean, the rap against them is so big.
Okay, so they're going to go to prison. They're not going to
burglary. Yes.
Okay. So tell me about. Let's go here. The kids. Nobody's being allowed in to these holding facilities.
Nope.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
I've never seen anything like this before. This is incredible. And
this is honestly like the Japanese internment camps.
Yes.
And in fact, you could get into Japanese internment camps back then with a camera. Nobody is being allowed in with a camera.
No, nobody is being allowed in with the camera. In fact, let me make it clear that DHS said that on this trip we were going to be granted access.
They told us that
yes, to this facility.
Correct.
And then they denied me access.
Correct.
And I have a friend who works for another news agency, 60 Minutes actually, and they were told, oh, this was about over a month ago. They said, hey, you can come in too. And when they got there, they said, yeah, keep the camera outside. You can't talk to anyone. You can't question any of the children, and you can't talk to any of our Border Patrol agents. Well, this is just incredible because we have every right to question. In fact, even more interesting enough, when we ran into some folks, we were able to intercept a family, a group of 7. When we were out on the border before Border Patrol arrived. I mean, this family was coming across the Rio Grande. I'm up on a ranch with Border Patrol agent Albert Spratt, who works with the union, and Border Patrol agent Chris Cabrera. Thankfully for them, we were able to get a lot of great stories. And I was out there on this private property. A man by the name of Junior Anzaldúa, whose family has owned this property since before the Constitution. I mean, it's incredible. And here comes this family, dehydrated, looking for help. I'm talking to them. They're sitting down. I say, hey, you know what? Border Patrol's on their way. We know they're on their way. Just sit down, get some water. And they were telling me their stories. And when Border Patrol got there, the Border Patrol agent was so nervous. He said, management just called me and told me to tell you to stop talking to them, that you can't talk to the illegal immigrants. What? I'm on private property. These are individual people. They can talk to me if they feel like it. They know I'm a reporter. I'm not going to stop talking to them. I'm not going to allow you to tell me that I can't talk to them. Who told you that? What gave you that authority? And it became to the point where they were harassing us because, and I don't blame the Border Patrol agent. I think he was really in fear for his job because, he shows up 20 minutes later. Border Patrol didn't even see this group. The group was walking with another 20 people and young kids. This hasn't stopped. The flow has circumvented itself a little bit, but now it's picking up again. And when I was there, I can tell you, Glenn, I saw kids 12, 13, 14 coming across. I saw families. We saw the little baby, 15-month-old baby. We saw men from as far as Ecuador coming across. And
why aren't they coming across a bridge? We don't stop them. I've asked the Border Patrol. So if they come across the bridge and they say the same thing to you, whether they're out just swam across the river and they get here, or they come across the bridge and say the same thing, you can't turn them around, can you? Can't turn them around at the bridge either, can you? No. So then why are they just coming across the bridge? Why? We are promoting slavery because these families cannot afford what they're paying these mules to bring them across. And the drug cartels are saying, don't worry. You pay what you can. We'll come later.
That's right. And they keep them in stash houses. And the reason that they don't go across the bridge is because a lot of these kids, when they try to get to the bridge, the drug cartels are taking them right before they reach the bridge, and then they keep them in stash houses down in Reynosa along the border, right there with McAllen, and then they move them across the water and then put them in stash houses on the U.S. side of the border. And I know you've been there, Glenn, and you remember that whole area. There's the Falfurrias checkpoint, which is 60 miles from to the Willacy County. There's 4 counties, and then there's the border. So you have this entire area, which it killed me. It's almost like a prison in the United States. Families living in shacks, illegal immigrants working in factories, in U.S.-owned factories, living like prisoners, and drug cartel members controlling these people, using them.
And everybody knows it.
And everyone knows it, and no one does anything. These children are being raped. These men and women are being kept as slaves. I spoke to one woman who told me for 3 years she was forced into servitude. She was forced at the age of 15 to work as a prostitute in McAllen.
Okay. I have to take a break. Tonight you're going to join me at 5. Would you please explain, because people don't understand. We're all for justice, and they hear these people coming across, and they don't understand. And I didn't either, really, until I got there. When you see what you saw, you realize people are being lied to from the highest levels on both sides of the border, and it is all about money and power. And we are part of a society. Shame on us that we are part of a society that is turning the other way, and we're allowing our anger at these people who are coming across the border to not then see what you're just describing. So I want you to come tonight. I want you to tell the story of what you saw and who you talked to about what those living conditions are like, how we are allowing people to be sold into slavery, some of them sex slavery. Horrible, horrible stuff.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Sarah Carter, you can read her stories. When's your first story come out?
First story should be coming out tomorrow.
Okay. On theblaze.com, you can read Sarah's stuff, but if you really want the truth on what's going on the border, Sarah is the one who has been covering the border for a very long time. She's the one who uncovered the tunnels on the border and everything else. She is the one to follow, and you can follow her at theblaze.com. Sarah Carter. She'll be joining me tonight at 5 o'clock as well.